Dr. Michael Howarth, an assistant professor of English and director of the honors program at Missouri Southern State University, has taken it upon himself to compile a list of the top 75 films to see before you turn 18. This list has taken the shape of a book that will be published next year.
Well, I always read a lot as a child. I read a lot of the Hardy Boys, mystery series, Tom Sawyer. So I was always a big reader. It was always my favorite subject in school. And I've always loved film as well. And so when I got to college, I always knew I wanted to be an English major. I was never one of these people who started and then switched. I came in as an English major and I finished as that. So I've always kind of had this path of knowing exactly what I want to do, and I've been lucky at that.
Howarth double majored in English and secondary education with a minor in film studies. He went on to get his master's in creative writing and a PhD in English. In addition to teaching literature and creative writing, he also teaches film studies and young adult literature. The latter course helped him to tap into his love for writing in that genre. In 2016, he published an original coming-of-age novel called Fairweather Ninja. It focuses on a young character and the challenges faced as he navigates through high school. And as a college instructor, Howarth likes to think that he's helping his students navigate through their own journey as well.
When I knew that I wanted to be in a classroom talking about literature and helping students analyze literature and reflect on it and figure out how it applies to their own lives. But they like Gothic, they like scary, and it's actually very educational and important for them to be exposed to some of those ideas. How can they appreciate the light if they've never seen the darkness, right? It's that sort of idea. You can think of it as training wheels to set them up for future decisions they have to make and how to understand the world that they're growing into. I would say that most of the decisions we make that we learn from tend to be the bad decisions, right? So I think it's important to make bad decisions.
The best decision Howarth ever made, though, was coming to Missouri Southern. He became a member of our faculty in August of 2008 and says he quickly fell in love with the people here. One of those people he met during his introduction to the campus, Dr. Joey Brown, a professor of English and philosophy, later became his wife.
When I got the job and I accepted it, I called her up and asked her if we could talk about apartments and the housing market, and we talked for 2.5 hours about everything but that.
Both share a passion for literature, teaching, and spending time together, which is a good thing because they'll be doing a lot of that this summer as they work their way through the list of films Dr. Howarth will potentially include in his book.
First, I just started with a list of 100 films that I thought I could include. And some of them are classics, like The Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And then some of them are more contemporary films like Easy A or Edge of 17 or Hunt for the Wilder People, which is a great coming-of-age film from New Zealand. So each chapter begins with the title of the film, and then the cast, the runtime, the year it came out, director, and then I have what I call a conversation starter, which is the longest part of the chapter, which is basically me talking about why the film is important, but also why you should watch it. And then at the end, I put a classic line from the film, and of course it's subjective because I think it's the best line in the film for me. But I put that in there, and that's just kind of to whet your appetite a little. And then at the very bottom, I put pairings. So I put other coming-of-age films that your movie pairs with.
Going into the project, there are several personal favorites that will be a given for inclusion, such as The Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and Stand By Me. When talking about his love for these films with his students, he's sometimes surprised when they haven't heard of them.
I hope that this book brings a lot of these films more into the light to students, and they can understand that there's a lot of movies out there before 2010 that they need to see, and that these films have a lot of really important ideas to teach us, and that they're still relevant even after all these years.
Along with Fairweather Ninja, Howarth is also the author of Under the Bed Creeping, psychoanalyzing the Gothic in children's literature. His love for the darker side of a story also plays in his appreciation for the works of director Alfred Hitchcock. Each February, he chairs the Hitchcock panels during the annual Southwest Popular American Culture Conference.
People from all over the world will send me abstracts because they want to participate on panels, and I sift through those and I either accept them or deny them. And then I take all the ones I've accepted and I form panels. And And so I love that because it allows me to listen to all these great presentations about film, right? But also I learned through these presentations about how to use film, and Hitchcock specifically, but teach it in the classroom. Because there's a lot of ways that you can use film to connect with students.
Howarth says his role as an instructor and writer, and a fan of film, has truly come together for his latest project.
One of the great things about stories is it teaches us how we're important, it teaches us why we're important, but it also helps us to make sense of our own lives.